Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from the Korman Productions Deep Dive TV podcast. My co-host Stacie, and we got special guest Heather Taylor, writer of Revival, or at least one of the episodes thus far. And I'm going to read from her bio because I found this to be very interesting. Heather creates TV, film, and audio projects about messy, complicated family relationships, often told through a gender lens that strives to destigmatize mental illness, disabilities, and poverty. Heather, welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing.
Oh, it's definitely amazing to have you for sure. So tell me, Heather, what
Yes.
attracted you to write for Revival?
Oh my goodness. Everything. So no, I got sent the pilot because normally in advance, like you'll get sent the pilot. I'm gonna have an interview. And so I got sent the pilot, and I was reading it, and I was walking on my treadmill, reading the pilot because I was like, I've decided I would try to walk on treadmills while I was reading. And I remember doing that, and at the end, I literally punched my fist in the air, and I'm like, oh my God, the end of the episode 1, and it reads exactly as you saw it. And I thought, I have to write on this show. It has all the complicated family elements. It has horror, which I love, and it also has mystery. And so all these things that I love to write. And I feel like a lot of times we don't get the opportunity to work on because there's unfortunately not as many shows that have genre in them like this. So to me, it's been a dream to write on a show like this. Like in my list of places I've always wanted to work was SyFy was one of them, the top of my list. And so the fact that this is a sci-fi show and a show that I, really wanted to do. And I think that's what really excited me. And then I was reading the comics as well, like trying to catch up because I hadn't read it originally. And so I was like, oh, this world is so rich and it's so interesting. And I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, but I also grew up in a small lure place called Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, which is the same size as Wausau, Wisconsin. So for me, it was like, oh, it's not just some of these like bigger elements, but actually, this is like the place I grew up in. Except I'm more north and it's colder. So like other than that, it's pretty similar. And so I felt a lot of kinship with the characters and the world. And so I was just so jazzed to be able to even be interviewed for it. So, and that's kind of how it all started.
Nice.
Oh.
Uh,
Now,
so
hang on a second, Dave. Before we go any further, I do want to point out to our listeners, we are going to be talking specifically about episode 5 of Revival today, which is the episode Heather wrote. So if you haven't watched episode 5 yet, this is a good place for you to pause, bookmark the video so you can come back to it, but make sure you go and watch episode 5 before you continue listening. Because we don't want to give you any spoilers, but we are going to be talking about it.
so Heather, I'm actually kind of curious. Did you see in your bio it mentions this destigmatizing the mental illness and disabilities and poverty? Those things are important to you.
Yes.
Do you see any of that in this show?
A lot of it, yes. A lot of it specifically. It was interesting when I first read the pilot, I put beside put notes. I always do notes while I'm doing stuff. And I said, does the main character, Melanie, have ADHD, or Melanie plays the main character, Dana, does she have ADHD? And so it's not talked about because she's undiagnosed. And then the first thing when I talked to them, the team was like, yeah, she does. Like right on the money. So I have ADHD. I'm like recognizes like, and they said, we had actually listened to podcasts where you talked about your own disability. And so we think you could be really helpful for this show in this way of like, yeah, in 2009, a woman in a smaller town would probably not have a diagnosis and she'd have that struggle. And so once you know it, I think you can see it. And one of the showrunners, Luke, and I were talking about it. He's like, it's so subtle. And I said, but in real life, it's really subtle too. Mm-hmm. And that's why we don't always get the help we need, especially as women who have ADHD, or her neurodiverse. And so it was really great for me to see that representation in a way that would be real to that time and that kind of character. And then to see, we really explored a lot around M and her disability, and to make sure we were really true to it. I mean, a really important and thing to avoid is tropes of the idea of I know she does heal, but the ideal of like, oh, we'll just magically heal the disability and it will go away. Well, her disability isn't gone. It's just that she does have some element that she can heal faster, but she still can break very easily. And so it's that idea of like, instead of trying to say she's better in quote unquote, she's dealing with like the things that have impacted her in a mental health capacity for having something like this through her life, but also she can utilize this to her advantage in the show. Like we can't erase who she is and who she was. And so for me, it was really important. And also we did a lot of deep research into how do families feel of children with osteogenesis imperfecta? Like how does it affect the parents and how they parent their other children? And you can see that relationship between Wayne and Dana and how it's affected by it. And so for me to have like take my own lived experience and put it into the show and to make sure that we're being really true to the disability community was super important to me. And so I think I was always like, everyone was great. So it wasn't like, I was like, oh, we have to, but it's just, I felt like I really, when it was in that room and I was like, I need to make sure that we stay true to that idea of ensuring that we aren't falling into those really bad tropes. And we really show the real experience that someone would have with these varying disabilities.
Yeah.
I have to mention. Go ahead, Stacie.
I was just going to say that line from your bio really stood out because that really very much so encompasses us as well. Mm-hmm. Like the whole point behind where Korman Production started. Like before we even started the podcast, that was Dave's whole message, was ending the stigma. Yeah. And specifically starting to talk about television and media and how that all plays together. I mean, nowadays we just talk about TV a lot, but that's really where the groundwork for it all came from. Yeah. So that just felt so perfect that's your whole message too.
Yeah. My sister and I do a podcast called Brains, like BRAAINS, and it's all about film and television and like different things that affect your mental health or disabilities and how it's reflected on film and television. And so we only will talk, or we bring in people who have the disability or dealing with a mental health kind of thing that they're dealing with. And so we make sure that those people are represented. So sometimes we'll have films go, oh, this person directed a film about this. And we're like, nope. like it's great, but if they come in, then we need to have the person who the story is about. So what was fantastic is we interviewed the director Amber and the star Phoebe of Out of My Mind by Disney, or the Disney film. And so when they first reached out, they said, could we bring in the director to talk? And we said, only if you bring in Phoebe as well. And I'm like, we really want to make sure that the mantra of not about us without us is very true. And I will not budge from that because I do think there's enough people talking about us that it's time for us to talk about ourselves.
Yeah. I have been a mental health awareness advocate, as Stacie has just brought up. I do really think it's an important topic to discuss. We do need to be sharing our stories so that we can end the stigma, because there are a lot of people that we lose that we could absolutely save if we end the stigma, make it so that people can actually talk about their issues. Too many people equate that, having the depression or anxiety, such as I do, with weakness.
Yeah.
And if we kind of get away from that mindset, those are people that we could save.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm from a family of people with anxiety and agoraphobia as well. And so I've grown up with that in my life. And so for me, it's like I'm not seeing my experience of people that I love on screen and the experience that I had on screen. And so I agree with you that if we can see ourselves, it allows us to feel like, oh, okay, I can recognize that I'm not alone in these feelings. And maybe I can get help, or maybe I can talk to someone, or like I've had people reach out, which makes me tear up every time I say, who said, because you've been open about your diagnosis, you've been open about other things. Like I've become more curious. I've reached out. I've just got my diagnosis. Like I've just got this. What do you do? How do you deal with this? How do you take medication? Do you like people have all these questions and they want to ask someone. And because I'm open about it, then they go, okay, then you're safe to talk to. And so I just like to be that safe place. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So in episode 5, where we have a counseling session for revivers.
Yes.
And one of the guys mentions like coming back wrong, which someone else also mentioned in the show, like Jordan is mentioned as coming back wrong, and like there's something missing, and that could very well be a symptom of depression.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that was intentional with that scene?
There's some other things that will come into play in the season that I can't talk about that will feed into some of this, but I think some of it is that idea of like you do feel, I think especially when you're in a place where you are being treated differently than you were before, that there is a feeling of like maybe there is something missing, like is there something wrong with me? Like this is kind of a magical thing that happened, right? This thing happened, no one understands why. I shouldn't be alive anymore, and yet I am, and I am real and I'm here. But like that feeling of like, but everyone isn't treating me the same. And I think like that can add to like, well, maybe there is a piece of me missing. Maybe there is something the matter with me. And I think a lot of times we put it back on ourselves. It's not them, it's me. I guess I'm wrong. And I think that can lead into, exactly what you said, like, that idea of like, okay, maybe you can lead into depression, or you have anxiety about like, how do I live in the world? And I think it becomes representative of a lot of that, I'll say just from my own personal experience, like I grew up when I was very young, we were in middle class, and then my parents got divorced and we were put into poverty. And so I grew up in basically like low income housing, and we didn't really have enough to eat sometimes, like that kind of environment. So we were very poor, and our community treated us differently because we were poor. And we were not the kids. We didn't get to play with certain kids that we played with before. We didn't get to do certain things we did before. And so that instant othering that happened because of our monetary class change was huge. And so to me, I put those experiences into what I write too, that feeling of like when your circumstances change that you have no control over, how do you feel after that? And it was a very lonely and broken feeling. And so I feel like that some of the revivers are feeling exactly the same way, which is what we really played out with Damon.
Speaking of that support group, wanted to ask if about what's her name, Nella, being the one to lead the support group. We both found that a little surprising, that she'd be the person to step up and do that. You have anything to say about that choice?
We did. We talked a lot about, like in the comic books, I pulled from there the idea there was a group that was very like looked more at it through a lens of religion, but not through the religion like Blaine was, where it's demons and hellfire, but actually like God has brought you back to do something for good. So that kind of other side. And so we really wanted to find a character that we would know in the show, so it wouldn't be too much of a side character, but someone that you can actually get to know more because of this experience. Yes, Nella does wear a lot of hats, and we know this. We would be, especially because I know sometimes she looks after Cooper, but she's a close friend of the family. But that's why she's not just the lady who does everything. But we really wanted to show her another side of her, of like her faith. And so for her, this is like something that she's doing because of her faith, to say like, I'm here for you. Let's, have this space, and, to talk about like, our feelings, but also that maybe you are here for a greater purpose, and kind of have that bent. I know that for a lot of people who go through different types of kind of recovery groups, and they are often religious based, not all of them. I think they have been opening up and becoming less that kind of bent, but that's how they originally were formed. And so we really felt like it's both reflective of what was in the comic, but also in a way that we felt like was the way to tell it, through a character we wanted to know more about, this idea of like, I believe that the revivers are here because they are here for a good reason. And whereas then you counter her to the Blaine, who Blaine is of the world, and of Wayne, and like you can see these different factorings of like what people think about who these revivers are and why they're there, and how they then feel about them and how they treat them.
It's kind of interesting because Nella is indirectly responsible for making their lives a little worse because she was the one who basically told, "Hey Wayne, you should just do what you think is best," and that resulted in Wayne calling the governor and basically turning the town of Wazo, or I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that
Wasa,
name.
yeah.
Wasa? Okay, I've got
Wasa,
it
yeah.
wrong every time.
It's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, basically turning Wasa into Nazi Germany or the Jim Crow South and making things worse for the revivers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as someone who sometimes you think you know someone, and it's only until they're tested where you know who they really are. And so I don't think she thought you're going to call the governor and open up like and start to stamp reviver pass like reviver stamps on people's IDs. Like I think she didn't I cannot imagine and that is not where her mind's going is like you're going to turn this into something very even more othering. And I think that is also if you see like with this reflection of this group, she's encountering what's happened to give people a safe space. So
Right.
even if she did say, you go and do your conscience and do what you think best, she didn't think his best was that. I'm putting
Right.
I'm putting words into her mouth, but like, of course she didn't think that. And like, I think to counter that is like, okay, I'm going to give these revivers a safe place to be because they don't deserve that.
Interesting. Is episode 5 the one where the revivers being
Yeah, yep.
that happens in episode 5?
Yes,
it's
it
all kind
does.
of blending.
I
Yeah,
know. It all
okay.
does.
So
And even when we wrote it, it would be like scenes would move to different episodes.
right,
So I was like,
right.
which scene's in this now? Like, it's okay. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so that scene is interesting for Wayne's character because
Yes.
he has all these anti-reviver sentiments that he's had since the beginning of the series. He's called the governor to deal with the situation in the manner that he's now dealing with it. But when confronted with somebody being
Mhm.
literally murdered, he says, nah, maybe we shouldn't be doing that." So that he's become kind of an interesting character in a sense that like
Mhm.
he's continually being challenged with his belief
Yeah.
system, but he's continually still doing kind of going down the same path.
Yeah, it's like it's someone who wants control, right? Like he really wants control. And so he's like, I don't know how this works. I don't know how to do what I do. I think I can't remember what episode he said it. If I don't what does he say? He says something like, well, if I don't know how to kill them, how can I like protect everyone? Right. So like protection, control, he's controlling to protect. And so, but yes, when faced with like, it's different to see someone who's your friend, like the mayor's wife, Mayor Dillish's wife, Diana, to be like, Diana to say, oh, please don't put me on the reviver list. And he's like, no, everyone has to be like, fair is fair. And we just don't know what's going to happen. I need to keep everyone safe and I need to know. She's not being tortured in that moment. But then you see someone like having that essentially like what Carla says or Dr. Morell says is science, but really it's torture. Then he's like playing the middle because he tells her good job and a good discovery, but then he's like, but let's just like he's now starting to feel like I don't know if this is where I wanted it to go. I just wanted to know how to keep everyone safe, and this doesn't feel good to see this man in this position. And sadly, like that moment is reflective. Like for me, it was a reminder of what a lot of prisoners, unfortunately, have gone through scientific testing. One of the really big ones that I had watched a show about the research on the prevention of pellagra, which is niacin deficiency. And they took death row prisoners in the South and said, I'm going to test stuff on you. And if you survive, you get to go free. Will you do this? And of course they said yes. And they died horrible, horrible deaths.
Wow.
And it was to save people. And there was still a distrust of this doctor. It was Dr. Joseph Goldberger. And he was trying to save people. but that's kind of the means that they're doing. He did it through, because at the time it didn't, like, or even now, a lot of times like, well, they're just prisoners. They're just other people. They, and it's their choice. So he makes, Miles Miller makes the choice. He's like, put a good word onto the judge. Like, he's going to get to go free if he like allows them to do this experimentation. That's his thought. But it's cruel.
Well, that's a thing too, is Carla has made it very clear she does not see the revivers as people, right?
Yes.
And Wayne in that scene, he's seeing a person. He's like, oh, wait, like, I can in my mind think, oh, we have to protect ourselves from these revivers. We don't know if they are who they are. Like, he even said to Delish, she was like, I don't know that that's your wife anymore. We're not sure. We have to be careful. But in this moment, he's seeing Miles getting tortured, and he's like, that's a person.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is really...
Actually, Wayne's even harsher than that. He basically just comes right out and says that your wife is gone and dead, basically. And he doesn't know who we're...
Yeah. No, it's true. I think he is... it's that thing of like, you kind of see people change. I don't know. Sometimes you see people change their minds when they start to see like, oh, it's someone I know who I love. Like, once he finds out it's M, how does he feel then? Right. That M is also one of them. Like, how will he feel?
Right.
If him seeing like Miles I was gonna say a little bit tortured. No, tortured. Sorry, not a little bit. He's very tortured. There's no little bit. It's all torture. He's being tortured, and he's like, oh, I didn't like think about this path. Like, you asked me about Nella. I'm like, well, Nella didn't think this is the path. He's like, didn't think about torture. I just thought, you'd figure it out. Well, how do you figure it out? Right.
Right.
And so I think he's that thing of like, well, I don't want to hurt people, but are they still the same people? And are they going to hurt us? And how do I protect us? And it's very complicated. And I mean, the answer should be, don't hurt them. They're still people. Regardless of if they came back from the dead or not. And, but it's that feeling of like, but I don't know how to keep us safe. And the safety he has is not necessarily the safety that everyone thinks about. Like, he's like, if I can't kill them, then how do I protect us? Well, that should not be your first thought, but that's not a surprising thought, I think, from that character.
Yeah. And I'm sure if she had just brought the results of those tests to him, he would have responded in a much more favorable way.
Yes.
But the fact that he literally had to walk in and see it happening is what made him go, oh, wait, like, let's pause.
Yeah. I was talking to my mom about it, and she's like, in the pilot, I was like, where did they get that skin from?
Right.
And she's like, that, oh no, that's someone's skin. And that feeling of like, they're going to do bad things. Like, that's not good. Like, and so she was very she was very unhappy with us, but it's that idea of like, that there is this kind of like, but they're not us, and it's okay. That kind of way that you're putting a wall up, but that's not an okay way to think.
Yeah. Wayne repeatedly says like, I have to protect everyone, but completely misses the fact that he also needs to be protecting the revivers. They're still citizens in his town.
Yes. And I think he has put that wall up. Like, they're not who I need to protect. And I think that's his journey, is like, oh, have I made this judgment that is not the judgment I should have made? And I think this is a turning point, a start of something for him.
Yeah, like you said, obviously, what we're building to is eventually he's got to find out about his daughter, and where is he going to land at that point. And I think it's been a great watching him as he grows through this process. And I'm very curious to see how it all lands with him.
I'm nodding, but I'm like, yep. I can't say more. But it's doing such a highly serialized show. It's just so much fun. And like, kind of like, we would say like clue of the week, like Noelle Carbone is such an amazing writer, and she came in, she's like, what do we owe, what do we show, is a thing that we'd say every episode. Like, what questions can we answer now Like, what do we owe you still? But then what are the new things we're unlocking because of it? So that you walk away and you're like, well, I found something out, but what's this now? And so it's like always like another level of, I found another level, but I don't quite understand yet why or what, but I will. But every time you have another episode, there's a new question unlocked that you need to wait to have answers for.
Can you describe for us the writing process?
Mm-hmm.
For instance, you have episode 5. That's your next episode. How do you go about writing that episode, and talk about the writers' room, just the process behind all that?
Of course. So in the room, we had 7 of us in the room, and so what happens? They hire people, which is great. So we have 2 showrunners, and then we have 5 other people writing, or that are in the room. So not everyone was writing. And what happens is we basically are there as like the brain trust, I'll call it. So they bring us in, they're trying to get a mix of people who have different experiences, different tastes even, but like we all hopefully will like the show. We all did. We all love this show. But like that's always the dream, is that you make sure that everyone is likes this and brings in different points of view. So Noelle has worked a lot on procedurals. She brings that, and she also worked on Winona Earp. But it was really funny. Her episode, she has a punk show, and she's like, I've never been to a punk show before. So we were like, okay, this is how punk show works. And so it's really funny. But what happens is everyone brings in different experiences. So in what we were given at the start of the show, of like the room coming together, the showrunners had already written the pilot. They had written I think either the outline or a rough form of episode 2. And they gave it to us, plus like an overarching, like, this is what we think will happen in the season. And then we come together and we talk about all the different characters and what growth and what arcs we think they'll have, what kind of things that they'll do in every episode. How are we going to show this? And so we kind of do like a general map that will always change. Like it always changes. And we're like, this is great. We got this. And then you go away and you start what we call like breaking an episode. So we'll have, we do a board online. It was a Zoom room. So they break it into, our shows are in 6 acts. So you have like every act have a little header, and then you put in essentially would be cards in real life, but like little squares on a board. And we determine like what is happening in every act. And at the end of every act, every commercial break is either a new piece of information or an escalation or a turn is what we call it. And so it like makes you want to come back after the commercial break. And so we go through and we determine, we kind of know what this episode will be. What are the things that we need to, like, what do we owe? What do we show? What's the kind of theme of this episode? And what are all the characters doing in it? Now, I know when we wrote it, like there's so much in it. Like you think, sometimes I'm like, my friend was like, these episodes have so much in them. I'm like, oh, they used to have so much more. And so we have so much less now. But I think it's just like the excitement of it. But we go away and we kind of break it. And then what happens is whoever's writing the episode will take that information away, and we all work on that together. And then they go and take that information and they make an outline, and to say like, this is how the story will be, so that we can send that to first our studio, which is Dynamic Television. And then they'll give us notes. We make changes, and then that goes to SyFy, and then SyFy gives us notes, and then we make changes, and then we go to draft. So we'll do draft 1, and then what we did in the room is that we would read a draft and we'd all give notes, and then they go away and make draft 2, and then you'd send that to Dynamic and SyFy, and it continues. It's just a continuing cycle. But as that person's writing, and so we wrote some rooms. You write during room time. Our room is so small that we wrote in the evenings and the mornings and the weekends. So we wrote around the room. So you'll be sent to, they'll be called sent to script, means like you're now can go write. So you'll be writing, but you'd also be in the room every day doing the next episode and making sure, like, breaking the next episode and working on it. And everyone has different strengths. My strength is like research and science. I love bringing all the scientific stuff in and research. And so I know a lot about algae, like so much, like I just like, and pictures, and like it's great. But it's like everyone brings those different strengths in. And so sometimes in the breaks or away from the room, I do research, or someone would do something and bring in, oh, here's some interesting facts about punk shows, or I don't know, whatever the thing is. That's off the top of my head. So everyone's bringing in other pieces of the puzzle. And then that's kind of how the room goes for infinity, it feels like. No, and then the room ends and we're all sad. And then the poor showrunners are left with the show. And then they're like, they have to make any final changes. The room was on the short side for what rooms are. But I feel like that's how things will start to move towards, because as networks and everyone wants to save more money, the rooms will become shorter. But the showrunners then, like, I'd say Aaron and Luke just did such an amazing job, but often have to like make changes. Like the network would want changes, or they're on set and like, we're going to have to move this scene, or we're going to have to remove this scene. And so the writing continues throughout. So they were just, I bow down to them. They did an amazing job of like, moving this ship. Cause it's like, I like to say being a showrunner is like being the mayor of a small town. And they mayored it up and they did a really good job. And, but they, Aaron wrote to me after this show came out and he's like, I had to make some changes, but I hope you're okay with it. And I said, you kept my Caesar salad line in, so I'm happy. And other things too, obviously, but it was, I just was being jokey, but I was like, yeah, it's like, you have to do what you have to do when it comes to production. And so often the final script that you deliver isn't always what you see on screen. Mm-hmm. And that's because of many things. It can be an actor isn't available that day and they just have to move them. There was like, I've heard of stories of like an actor broke a leg and they had to remove them from like multiple episodes of a show. And that happens when the room's done. But what I loved about Aaron and Luke is that they always came back to us. And when there was notes and changes, they would like, hey, here are these changes that need to be made. I'm happy to make them. And for me, I'm like, no, I'd like to make them because this is my episode. Or, hey, we need to take out, at one point, we're like, we have to take out 10 scenes. And I'm like, hey, you tell me how many scenes we need and how many pages. And I'm good at that. I'm good at puzzles. So I'm good at figuring that out. And I will return to you with a draft that is going to be producible for, what we have and the time that we have. And so I think just their trust is so amazing and they're so positive and supportive. And that really just made the room so wonderful because you have long days. So our rooms went from 10 to 7 every day. So it's a long day on Zoom and then you're writing around it. And so it's a lot, but they made it always like, come to us when you need something. We started the room with like, they met with us individually. What do you need to do your best job? How can we be here to be of service to you? Tell us what we don't know. What we don't know. Tell us. Don't ever just like, we're here for you. And I think that isn't always the case. And with them, this was an amazing experience. And I really, really would like a second season, not just because I love the show and want to make another season, but also just because I really love the people that I got to work with and I want to be with them again.
Yeah, we definitely want a second season as well. This is a quality sci-fi show. We're really enjoying it. I was actually surprised. We didn't know what to expect when we decided to cover this. We covered the first episode and we're like, okay, this is intriguing, but where do we go from here? And each episode it seems to be better and better and deeper and deeper. And yeah, so we definitely are rooting for a second season.
Thank you. And also like, I think with mine, it was so interesting because when we came up with the idea of making Dana unconscious, we're like, I don't think we're going to get away with this. I don't think they're going to let us take the number one on the call sheet and make her not speak. So the balancing of trying to make sure that she was a part of the episode, like that she did become conscious and she was part of a lot of especially the second half of the episode, but just allowing other characters to shine that didn't get to yet, I think was important. And to see M trying to be a police officer, like they cut the line that, and I think it was probably for like clearances reasons, but I said, oh, but I've watched lots of forensics files. Like I wanted her to do stuff that was not like, it's so complicated. She did not have to do all that, but she does because she doesn't know how to be a cop, to be honest. She just thought this is how you do copping stuff. And so she did it. And so it makes it fun because in her mind, this is how I'm going to like save my sister. So she's very serious about it but it's very funny because it's all slightly ridiculous. I just think it's like Harold and Kumar style heist in the middle of another murder investigation. And I just like, because to her, this is how she's like, I get to help you for once. I get to be there when I've never got to be there for you. And like, I'm the oldest and like, I'm like Dana. I feel like I'm like Dana. So to have like to be able to have a character, like to have M say like, I got you, is like really important.
Yeah. My my first reaction to episode 5 was like, oh, this episode's a little quieter, a little slower. And it's because Dana's unconscious for most of the episode. And
yes.
Did you find that to be a challenge in writing this particular episode, that you did have to depend more on the other characters?
I mean, I loved it. I think it's like, yeah, we get to see characters trying to do things that they don't normally do, or like dealing with difficult emotions. Like we got to see Wayne have an emotion other than anger, which he's very good at having. I've said to my husband, he didn't have emotions. You mean he's like, other than anger? I was like, oh yeah, anger is an emotion. We have somehow told the world that anger is not an emotion. It is. So, and I think like to be able to see characters react in a different way, because a lot of times when someone is absent, you are very different than when you are in front of them. And we've never had a chance for Wayne to talk to Dana about his feelings, even though he did it when she was unconscious, because that's the safest. Like he's really like, it's scary to say how you feel. And so that gave us and him an opportunity to do that. We allowed M to take more onus. She's not like backup or following her sister, or I know she did a little bit of investigation in episode 4, but this allowed her to do something that could potentially save someone she loved, especially when there was this idea of like weird, like what, you think she's part of this? I really have to help her. And then to see even Ibrahim, a little more of him and his emotional side with Dana and the things he did, and also the uncomfortableness he has with like not being truthful, and that him burying himself in his work was a way for him to also like deal with his emotions. And so then what happens when he suddenly doesn't have that control? So it's like a lot of people having to explore like what it means to not have their safety that they had, like Dana's M safety. It's like everyone, suddenly they have to, it's kind of like if the sun disappears in the middle of the universe, or in the middle of the solar system, what happens? And so it was fun to explore that with these characters, but not have her gone for too long. So that's why we're like, she's just in a induced state of rest. Like she will come back to life. We had to be it was a very fine line, so that we even had a line of like, she can't eat too much pudding because you just had an abdominal injury. So we're like, but they need to eat. It's a thing. So, but it was a really fun thing to explore the aftermath of something that big, to allow us to open up characters in a way that we haven't seen them before.
It's funny what you said about Wayne, because early on in the first couple episodes, I'm like, is Wayne ever going to do anything besides be angry and shout?
Yes. We saw it. He did it. Good job, Wayne.
We saw him be human for a moment or two.
Yeah, I think he's just like, I think we only really see Wayne so far in situations where he's under a lot of stress. And so just imagine like he's in a lockdown trying to manage a lockdown with people that have, let's say, a mystery illness. They don't know what's going on. And he doesn't know, and he can't control them in any way, or he doesn't know how to be safe with them. I don't know. I'd be kind of like maybe if that was my default, I would be defaulting that a lot. And maybe that was also just really successful for him before now, that if he's like shouty, I don't know if you've had bosses this way. I have. Shouty bosses who are taught by other shouty bosses think that that's the way that bossing is. And so I hope that he learns that shouty bossing is not the way to be a boss.
I was just going to say that it must have been a restful week for Melanie, that she just got to like be in a bed that whole episode.
So hilariously, that part of the episode was the first thing filmed. So it was so nice because it was my birthday, and they started principal photography on my birthday on my episode. So we filmed in blocks of 5, which is, I've never seen blocks that big, but they did it.
Yeah.
It's a big block. But they did, Yeah, they did ours because they got that. They had that location. They were able to do that. So, I think I saw her messaging online saying something like, "Oh, I had a very restful start to my time on the show." So, it was like those are the first things we got to see. Those really emotional scenes. So that was really interesting.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. I mean, that was in September, so it's okay. I'll take it for last
really
year, and I'll take
belated?
it for this year.
Happy early birthday.
I'll take it both. I get double birthday.
Was there anything that you had in episode 5 script specifically that didn't make it to the final cut?
Yeah, and I think it's fun to say, like, there was a scene with Rhodey that was in it. That was actually, she goes to Rhodey first, and then she goes to Kay.
Oh, okay.
But I think it was always a tricky scene because he doesn't help her. And so how does that place them? And I think making the choice of her also, and there's can be many reasons that's not there, like actor isn't available, or they were like, no, we're going to move it because he's going to be in the next episode. He is important in the next episode. So like, can we leave them maybe more in a place of she's embarrassed to go to him, which is also partly what we played in the scene too. So her being more embarrassed, like, you were right, I shouldn't have done it, I shouldn't have gone, I blame myself for my sister being hurt, and like I need to find someone else to help me. I'm going to go to Kay, who's helped me get drugs. I mean, has helped her badly before, but you know, that's her person. Who else does she have? No, yeah. Like, because Dana's out. And then also we originally, there was more, and I don't know how it plays out now, but because I think there was another storyline that involved the head of the CDC. And so that was taken out. So they changed up who gives like marching orders to Carla and Ibrahim. And they give that to the governor instead of the head of the CDC, which I know is not really.
Yeah, we found that a little.
That's not really how it happens in real life, but we're like, I mean, they do like, okay, CDC doesn't have like jurisdiction per se. It is the decision of the state, but yes, they would not choose. The state does not choose who gets to do the work, but
they're not handing out promotions and demotions directly.
No. So that was a bit of a change. I was like, oh, that was interesting. Okay, well, and I could understand because you're also like consistency of character, wanting to have a character that you kind of have like, she's kind of like not the best. So keeping that consistent totally makes sense. Originally it was another character, but that kind of story with her did not exist anymore in the season. So, I mean, people who aren't from the States or know about how the CDC works may not even notice, but I did. But it's not bad. It's not bad at all because it's like, it's a character we know who the governor is. We know like her feelings. It's a really then fast, easy scene in terms of her emotions and then and how what goes down with Ibrahim and Carla. So I still think it works really well. But that changed. And then there was other things that were taken out of this that were moved to later. And I had to write, and we had originally a different opening that had to move for like technical reasons. Not technical, like bad, just it had to move out because it was better just to go right into her after the accident. Not accident, sorry, the shooting. That's not an accident, the shooting.
the incident.
The incident and things that moved because also time, like it's a lot happening. And so a few things then got hinted at that you will then see the ramifications in the next episode that we did tie up a bit more. But it was there. It's just like very subtle. But that's the nature of writing television. Like the fact that most of it, I was like, those are all scenes that I wrote were great because sometimes you can go, oh, that's interesting. I didn't write that at all. What's that? So I think it plays out really, really, really well. So I think I was really happy with it. I was really proud, and I'm just really proud of the whole show.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. You just addressed two things that we brought up in the podcast. Based specifically Rhodey's absence. We were very, very curious about that. And also the whole demotion from the governor of Ibrahim from the CDC. Like, that's not quite how it would work. And it's funny that you knew that. And
well, I mean, those are things, but I think even without it there, like it all works. So like not having Roni there is definitely because of her embarrassment. and her, like, this is a guy that she likes. She doesn't want to be like, hey, so you told me not to do this thing. Well, I did it, and then my sister is now in the hospital, and I don't know if she's gonna get better. I'm like, I don't, you like to, like, dress your best and look your best and not tell someone all of your skeletons. And she's already told him quite a few skeletons. So I feel like they've bonded over those. I don't know if we want to bring up the new, like, I got the man that I dated is murdered, and my sister has been shot and is in critical condition in the hospital. And I have a bullet in me. And can you help me doctor evidence? Like, I think I would be like, you know what? I think we're done now. Like that. And so I think, like, we had a scene that was really fine on the fine line of, like, but I think not having it in a way is better because you have it there. Then you're like, well, then your question would have been to me, well, why didn't he break up with her if she's doing all this, like, wild stuff that puts him in danger?
Yeah. The way I took him not being there is just like how you meant it, is what came through for me. Because we felt obviously he would have been the best person to, like, get the help that she needed help with. Yes. But it makes perfect sense that she wouldn't go to him first because he said, this is a bad idea. And she was like, I don't care. I don't need you. I'm going to go take care of it myself. And obviously she doesn't want to admit that he was right and that things went really bad. But this led to her and Kay, and that whole removing of the bullet, that was my favorite part of the episode. It came off really humorous, which I enjoyed that. Did that scene play out the way that you had intended it to? Like, was that the vibe you were going for when you wrote that?
Yeah, I did. I'm like, I wanted more. They're always in the, can we have more blood? Can I, like, I wanted Tyler's leg to break, and I wanted, like, protruding bones. I wanted her to jump through the window. I mean, I really went to town. They were like, Heather, that costs more money. And I'm like, but it's so good. It's so good. I wanted her to, like, jump down through the window to break into the morgue and break her ankle, and then I have it reheal. Like, this is me. Oh. I'm like, more horror. And they're like, balance, Heather. It's also that equals stunt. That's my, like, there's, like, so much other stuff. And so I'm like, fine. But I really liked how they played. Like, what I'm really liking about the way they're doing it is that there is still horror in it, and there's moments of body horror, but it's not, like, overly body horror. So it allows you, for an audience that may be more squeamish, to be, like, comfortable watching it, but yet still get the body horror a bit in it. And then I was like, oh, I didn't see her puke in the room. Like, I don't even like seeing puke, but I was like, oh, well. But no,
we don't need to see that.
We don't need to see it. But I was like, in my, like, originally we were going to film it. Originally it was in the bathroom. And so you see M, and then you see her puking in the toilet. That was how we originally envisioned it. But it is so much better to have her puke off screen. But I don't know. I just, like, really always, I'm like, can we go extra? And then they're like, that's too extra, Heather.
Sometimes less is more.
I know. I just want more bones protruding. It's okay. I get it. It costs so much more money. It's true. Compound fracture prosthetics are a lot, but I kept trying.
So speaking of the scenes, speaking of those, it was interesting because M doesn't seem to be experiencing a lot of pain having a bullet being taken out of her. So it almost made me think that perhaps, like, with her revival powers, she doesn't feel pain as much. But then Miles later very much experiences pain. Yeah. Now, Stacie kind of thought that was, like, there was a psychological reason behind that, in the sense that in M's case, she's in control, so she's not feeling it as much, whereas Miles has no control whatsoever, so he's really experiencing the pain. What's your take on that?
Well, it's a little more like she still feels the pain. I do think when you have chronic illness, like I have chronic migraines, you get used to tolerating a certain level of pain. She has, like, extreme pain that she's been through. She's had multiple breaks. She's had multiple surgeries. And I think it's not that pain goes away. It's just your tolerance of pain becomes, like, you kind of, your threshold is like a 5 instead of a 0. And so for me, and it's like she's still, you could still see her wincing, you still see her like playing that, but I think that character has dealt with pain, like the fact that she's having to take so many opioids to deal with her pain. She is used to and has dealt with pain for a lot of her life, and so that's how I take it. And how, like, we'd said in it, like she's wincing in pain, she's holding it in, like she's not screaming like Miles is, but Miles is burning from the inside. So like that's bad. Like that's like a little knife. Like yes, that's hurts, sucks, but your skin burning from the inside is very bad and very painful. And so there's levels of pain. And I think like the idea of like some of it being psychology of like I'm assuming you mean like because like she knows it's happening in a way, like she's choosing it versus Miles is but not, because he doesn't really know what's going to happen. Then yeah, I think there is a difference with that too.
And also maybe females just have better pain tolerances in general.
Oh, we do have to deal with a lot more pain. Yes.
I'm a little outnumbered here at the moment.
Well, I feel like just anyone who's listening, watching, go find the videos where they do like they use the TENS machines to show like period pain and see how men feel when they have to feel period pain, which is likened to the pain of a heart attack. So go watch that. Try it yourself.
I'll be sure to do that.
I see a future video.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a little bit about M and K's friendship.
Mm-hmm.
In the earlier episodes, I really felt like they weren't that close. Like we saw Kay kind of talking shit about M on the phone with somebody, like right after Revival Day when she woke up. But in this episode, Kay is going right along with everything. She's not asking any questions. She's basically her ride or die. Where do you see their relationship? How is their friendship in your eyes?
I think it's like, I mean, she took M to this like pre-Reviver Day, took M to like the biggest drug dealers in the county to get drugs. I feel like there's a trust between them. I mean, she doesn't trust her after that. So I feel like I think that they were closer friends, like they're roommates, they are closer friends, and then she stole a bag of drugs from the worst drug dealers. And she's not so happy with her. So she's a little like a little cooler to her. But in this episode, I think it's like, I think Kay's kind of up for anything, and she's super high. So I mean, she's just like, all right, let's do this. There's not a lot of adventure happening, I'd say. I think Kay's a little bit more on the adventurous side. Not a lot of stuff's happening in WASA at the moment, and she's like, sure. Like, and also I think it's like being appealed to of like, you're my only hope. Like, you're like, yeah, like, well, why did Luke Skywalker or like, why did they do that? Why did they go and like risk their lives for like some lady on a scanner of a robot, like a hologram from a robot? They could have been like, yeah, nah, we're good. But she's like, it's like that, except just the high bullet puking version. That's all. It's just Star Wars.
Do you have a favorite character that you're enjoying watching as a fan of the show?
That's hard. I mean, it's hard because I do like, I think I have a favorite with like, I really love what Andy McQueen is doing with Ibrahim. It's so sweet and lovable, but also smart. But sometimes not smart when he should be smart. Like not sometimes relationship smart, but I enjoy that because I feel that as a human. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not people smart some days. Like I just thought that person was genuine. And then I have to have other people say, no, Heather, that's just what people say. And I was like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. And I really love the relationship between Em and Dana. So like I really love seeing them on screen together. I think there's something really magic with the two of them. I think Mel can literally, like, I feel like she's like a chameleon, which does fit with being someone with ADHD in this show, but like she's a chameleon. She can really match whoever she's with. And I think it's she's just so talented as an actor, and I just see that on screen and like see how she plays to every character that every actor she works with a little differently is really quite magical. So I really like them. I think I really love that we've gotten to play with Kay because Kay was only like, I don't know if I can say this, I guess. She was only going to be like a one-off, like end of episode 2, just, oh, it's her roommate. Where was M? She was at this drug dealer. That's it. That was going to be it. Kay was never going to come back. And we just really like Kay a lot. And we're just like, Kay is really fun and like a wild card. And we just don't know what she's going to do. And she's such a fun addition to this world. So I really like that we've got to really play with that other dynamic, which allows us for humor, but also allows this idea of like, well, yeah, she's a college kid. And so is M. And M's had to be very grown up in a way because she's had to deal with a lot of like surgeries and pain and a lot of isolation. And she's, finally living her life, and to be with someone like Kay, I think can really bring out a different side of M. So I really love where we've taken Kay. And then I got to like, she's like like in my episode in such a big way. We're like, because we're like, who could do this? Who could do this? And we're like, oh, Kay could do this. Kay would dig a bullet out of her. Kay would come and do weird shit with her. Yeah. And so like Kay would be up for it. And so I'm so glad that we got to keep her throughout. And I think Maya's doing such a great job. Our actress playing Kay is doing such a great job of it.
So I think, Stacie, do you have any other questions that you can think of?
I think we hit all the places we wanted to hit. Yeah.
Okay. Before we go, is there anything that you want to plug or anything that you want to promote?
Well, I will always say, just go. I love, always want to promote the podcast that my sister and I do, Brains, BRAAINS. It's on everywhere you listen to podcasts. So I think if you like to hear about people's experiences around mental health and disability and how they are portrayed on film and television, do come listen. There's some like really fun episodes, and just like, yeah, it's just really fun. It's really fun. We're in our 4th season. So I'm always encouraging people to come listen or say who you'd like to hear from. And then you can follow me on all the platforms. I'm Heather A. Taylor. So I'm everywhere because Heather Taylor is a common name and it was taken. And so there's many of us, many of us. And so we'll also Revival will be at Comic-Con in a couple of weeks. So if you are coming, do come to the panel. It's on 10:30 on Friday morning. I am going to be in the audience cheering on everybody. But I'll be there at Comic-Con. It'll be my first time going to Comic-Con. It's in San Diego. I went to the London one because I had a web series. I got to speak on a panel, which was like tech to box off my dreams. My next dream is like get a show and get to go on a panel at Comic-Con. I'm manifesting that. But in this case, I'm going to be there to cheer on the folks that are doing it for the first time, which are like Aaron and Luke and the cast. So do come and see us if you are going to be in San Diego.
Awesome. Well, we are definitely hoping for a second season. Hopefully we get that. Hope we can have you back on the channel sometime to chat with you because it's been a pleasure talking with you. Yeah.
No, thank you so much for having me. I thank you for reaching out. I asked my showrunners because it's like, I won't say anything. I won't spoil anything, I promise. But it's like, I was really like how happy that they like trusted me to come on and talk. And so I don't think I said anything that wasn't supposed to be told. So yeah, I just really appreciate it. And I just really do love this show so much. It's an honor to be part of something that I think kind of talks to so many people's own experiences. And, I think really talks to what's happening in the world right now in a way that we didn't expect when we made it. So I think it's just like a really important show to have on the air. So I'm just grateful for you to reach out and to ask me to be part of this. So thank you.
Well, thank you
We're
so much.
We're definitely honored that you came on.
Oh, great. We're all honored. This is great. Thank you
so much for taking the time and talking with us. And we really appreciate it.
Of course. Anytime.
Okay. Everybody, Heather Taylor wrote episode 5 titled Triage. And I hope everybody sticks around and keeps watching this series because it's amazing. And let's all manifest a second season.
And that was our conversation with Heather Taylor. Wow, a lot of great stuff there, I thought. And yeah, the conversation continued on for like another hour after we were done recording.
A half hour.
Hour. It seemed like it went on for a while. Yeah, she's a fun person to talk to for sure.
Yeah, that was great. Really appreciate that conversation, and I think Heather has a lot of great ideas. So I definitely hope that we get a second season and she gets to keep writing for the series because
Absolutely.
I like where she's going.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't, I think I'm gonna like definitely follow her career and definitely check out that podcast because it sounds like it's right up my alley for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did pull up her podcast and I listened to a few minutes of an episode in preparation for today, and I was like, "Oh, this is good stuff."
All right, we'd like to hear from you. What'd you think of this interview? Would you think of our podcast? Stacie, we reached at.
I can be reached on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at TVN Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Korman Productions. You can join one of the Korman Productions Facebook pages. You can buy something from the Korman Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a coffee. You can join the Korman Productions membership for 99 cents a month. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video as well as subscribing to the channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Korman Productions, signing off.